What is the difference between a standard guitar and a baritone guitar? How do you choose one over the other? Well, I think the best way to illustrate the difference between these two instruments is to play something on them. First, I'll play a fingerstyle riff on the standard guitar, and then I'll play that same exact riff on the baritone guitar. Clearly, the baritone guitar sounds much lower pitched than our standard guitar, and that's because it is. While a standard guitar is tuned E, A, D, G, B, E, baritone guitar is generally tuned down a fourth to B, E, A, D, F sharp, B. The intervals between the strings are exactly the same, but of course the pitch is way lower. You might think, well, why not just take your standard guitar and tune it down to baritone tuning? Unfortunately, it's not that simple. You can tune your guitar way down there, but what you're probably going to find is that your strings get pretty floppy and that your intonation is all over the place, and possibly worst of all, your guitar gets very quiet, and the volume that you're used to from your standard guitar drops dramatically. How does the construction of a baritone guitar make up for the vast difference in tuning? While physically these two instruments may look similar, they have a few key differences specifically to accommodate their respective tunings. On this particular baritone guitar, the scale length is increased by about 2.5 inches, or more specifically 60 millimeters. That leaves the total scale length of this instrument at about 28 inches, or exactly 710 millimeters. Additionally, the strings of a baritone guitar are way beefier than any set you're going to find for standard guitar. These strings that I have on this baritone right now are actually 16 gauge strings. The last thing I'll note is that with a lot of baritone guitars, the body construction is generally pretty big. This particular model is a jumbo, and it feels enormous compared to my standard guitar. It's also much deeper than my standard guitar. As a result, this particular baritone is screaming loud. Other baritones you might find for sale come in dreadnought format, which is another guitar type known for its volume. It's another great body shape for an instrument with a booming voice. Okay, so why would somebody choose to write music on a baritone guitar instead of a standard guitar? Baritone guitars give you access to a register across their 6 strings that you would otherwise not have. I don't even mean just B standard tuning like we talked about earlier. You can take baritone guitars down to A standard tuning, or even G if the scale length is long enough. It's often the case that an idea that's just fine on standard guitar may turn into a face melter on baritone. There are elements to the sound of a baritone guitar that are just hard to quantify. With these instruments, you have access to an entirely new range of color and sound. The big shift in pitch alone can be inspiring for those of us that write instrumental music for acoustic guitar. It's my opinion that there's a lot of value in an instrument that inspires or just changes your approach to writing music. What about alternate tunings on a baritone guitar? If you're anything like me, you like to dabble with alternate tunings. It's actually a really big part of the music that I write and play. Alternate tunings give you new sounds, chord shapes, open string licks, and patterns to play around with. If you take those same tuning intervals and put them on the baritone guitar, you've effectively doubled the amount of alternate tunings that you have. I've taken quite a few of my own original compositions that I wrote in an alternate tuning on standard guitar and moved them over to baritone, and what I've found is that I actually end up liking them better in some cases. If you've ever considered adding a baritone guitar to your arsenal, I would say that it's totally worth it. I've played baritone guitar for years now, and it's really augmented and changed my approach to writing music for solo guitar. Luckily for you, baritone guitars, both electric and acoustic, are becoming way more common, and it's not totally unlikely that you'd actually find a baritone guitar of some flavor in a shop near you. See if you can get your hands on one to mess around with. You might just find that you totally fall in love with it. If you've ever played a baritone guitar before or any other extended range instrument, leave a comment and let me know. Hope you found this helpful and interesting, and thanks for watching.